Well, Coop, what do you think, man?
New South Wales were bloody good.
They were good.
That's what I think. I think we, in our preview through the week, we sort of spoke about how, we thought New South Wales was going to play. I think Queensland knew how New South Wales were going to play. I just think they just couldn't stop them. They were, from that first set, like they just looked unbelievable. You generally in a first set of a Origin game, you see like the physicality, and teams really struggle to get out of their half the first 5 minutes. It's a real grind.
Yep.
Whereas you just saw New South Wales just roll them so early.
It was a real hint of things to come because we dominated through yardage. One of the areas we did, and we spoke about this before, our outside backs are always so good in yardage. And, we said the ones who were going to lead that were Edwards, To'o, and Zach Lomax. Zach Lomax was mighty. And a hint of things to come, and that was the first set for New South Wales. And, a couple of strong runs, and all of a sudden Zach Lomax took the ball, boom, run, a little bit of late footwork, and then just drove through the line. Made about 12 metres, played the ball fast. Then all of a sudden Payne has come on the back, and we drove all the way to halfway, which is almost, you only see that very, very occasionally in State of Origin football. Almost never, as far as first sets are concerned.
Well, you see that you usually, as a kid, you remember getting up and you go, I want to watch the first hit off the kickoff.
Yeah.
Because the first set is so physical, blokes flying out. You just didn't see that from Queensland. They wanted to, but Lomax, that second carry, bumped Harry Grant and then went down. Haas went on the back of him.
Lomax destroyed their intent there.
Yeah.
Like Queensland really, they raced down, and that second tackle they got into him when Lomax took that ball and just punched it through the line. Yeah, it just took the wind out of the defensive sails early on. And just as it said, destroyed the intent they went to dominate through physicality. And Coop's evidence of where New South Wales dominated yardage and controlled the early exchanges is that in the first 7 minutes, Nathan had 2 attacking kicks.
Yeah.
Attacking kicks, and we've said this before, are so important in big games. That's because a lot of times that's where the majority of points are going to come from.
Yeah.
So if you can regularly put your playmakers in position for attacking kicks, you are dominating the contest.
Particularly when, look at last year's grand final, for example. People looked at it and went, what a boring game. But a lot of the tries and a lot of the stuff where they were dominating come from just rolling downfield and only having emphasis on their fifth tackle.
Yep.
You saw when New South Wales dominated that first half, it was all from their fifth tackle kicking game, getting results from Nathan putting up for Zach Lomax.
Yep.
When momentum eventually shifted, you saw that come from the opposite end, Dalic Evans putting up for Jeremiah Nanai and getting results out of those attacking kicks.
Yeah, I thought that, again, a further hint of things to come, Coop, in the first 10 minutes was the fact they gave Cleary a lot of time. Nathan had a lot of time and space to operate in early on. And from there, as you know, as a playmaker, when your first few touches are really good, you find rhythm. It was soon after, actually, he got a ball and Harry really raced at him. And Nathan come up with an error. Now, that's the way they should have defended him early on, not let Nathan and Mitch Moses find their natural rhythm. They just gave too much time.
Agree. I think that come off the back of how dominant the pack were, though. I think Payne, Haas, Lomax, To'o, rarely did I see Haas on his back once.
No.
Like every time Haas got the footy, it was a quick play of the ball. Same with Lomax, same with To'o. So I think it's a big rap to those three that allowed those two to have so much time.
In that first 10 minutes, Lomax and Haas were the best players on the field.
Oh, easy.
Let's move into the next phase of the game, that sort of period that goes up to the 20-minute mark. And it was here, in this part of the match, I reckon Queensland enjoyed their best period of dominance. And they didn't assert dominance through, like we did, through power running and punching through a defence. They asserted dominance through ball movement.
Yeah.
They had a hell of a lot of success attacking down their right side, attacking New South Wales left side defence. The defensive combination of Latrell and Brian To'o, they're a little bit out of sync. They weren't defending as a combination, and Latrell had come in a little too acute, and then you see Brian sitting back a little bit. They just weren't on the same page, and that's where Queensland and evidence again. Let's come back to what we said before about Nathan. Evidence that Queensland enjoyed dominance in this period was 2 attacking kicks.
Yeah.
Asserting pressure on us through two attacking kicks. And I thought through this period in particular, I thought New South Wales played conservative. I thought in that period we went into our shells a little bit. So in that period, from that 10 to 20 minute period, the best players on the field, I thought DCE was very, very good during that period, and I thought Reece Robson for New South Wales. Reece Robson tonight was the most dangerous I've seen him.
Yeah,
as far as getting out of dummy half
ever. He's a good runner, but you don't see him get out like you see a Harry Grant get out and tow people onto the line. You saw Reece Robson have a lot of luck, but like you said with how they shifted from sort of going one out, trying to get quick play the balls through their wingers, into shifting to try to get quick play the balls. I think that was just a wrap to New South Wales defence. I think they didn't look like they could get out of their own end. I think Ches and Munster, I think they just got together and said, we need to start moving the ball because we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But we need to try to make line breaks to get metres because he's kicking out of our own 40 the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, they really struggled for yardage. That next 10-minute period, from 20 to 30 minutes, we're starting to push towards half-time now. We're starting to get some really important moments. We score right at that period, the start of that period. We tried in New South Wales, and Zach Lomax scores the try right in the right-hand corner, but I'll tell you where it started. The pebble in the pond started with Mitch Moses. Yep. They were going to go to the right. He overcalled down a short side from Reece Robson, went to the line, put Angus Crichton through, and that incision, that momentum that created that space, that ended up, that was the reason why Lomax scored in the far corner. So that was just a nice little play there from Mitch Moses. Mitch Moses didn't overplay his hand. He let Nathan run the show, but that was a really nice little moment where Nathan's called the ball the right, and he's gone, no, I'm going to overcall this. I sent something up the short side.
You know what? Your brother, Andrew John, said right at the end of the game, Queensland spine looks disconnected, where on our end, New South Wales spine, they work so well together. You look at that passage of play, Mitch Moses, Nathan Watson on the right, he overcalls, puts Crichton through, and it ends up being fifth tackle.
Yeah.
And seeing how quick the play the ball is and how disconnected the defensive line were for Queensland, Nathan looks up, finds Payne Haas, he gets an offload, he gets it out to Edwards, Edwards finds Crichton. Like, that spine, just everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
And the connection there where everyone goes, hang on, it's fifth tackle, we probably should be kicking, but look what's in front of us. Let's just react to what's in front of us.
Isn't Stephen Crichton good in those instances where it's scrambling, the defence is scrambling, got the ball, the thing happening left, right and centre, there's people coming at him all over the place. He knows somewhere there's the right option. Somewhere he has to find the pass or the dummy or the step or the little kick that's going to set up the try. And he just nearly always nails it. Oh. And that one, you just tore down the field and just perfectly timed pass to Lomax to put him over. And further evidence of that, I mean, you think back to that grand final where they beat Brisbane and some of the plays late in the game that Stephen Crichton come up with, vital plays, they got Penrith through. As far as outside backs, I haven't seen many outside backs who can sum up the situation better than Stephen Crichton.
Yeah, and even you look at his opposite number, right? Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow was the fastest bloke out there on the field. So he would have known himself, Crichton's not going to beat me with speed, but in a lot of instances tonight, you saw him giving him time and space just because how worried he is of his fend, of his step. You don't often see that with centres a lot of centres are scared of speed. So they over-chase and open up like that. Yeah. Hammer knows he's not going to go for speed, but just the sheer agility and footy IQ and skill that he's got, where he's going, he can beat me with footwork, he can beat me with a fend, he can run over me, or he can put a little kick in behind. It just makes him dangerous.
He's just got so much presence.
Yeah.
He's just so much presence. The next Queensland, New South Wales try come soon after. It was an error coming into trouble from Queensland, and this is really important, Coops. And we said coming into the game, one of the things I was looking for from Nathan Cleary is for him to run the football.
Yeah.
We interviewed Nathan in this room, and we asked him the question. I said, my hunch with you, Nathan, is you find your best football when you run the ball early. And he said, yeah, I do. He said, but it's a discipline. He can get into the mode of just passing, shoveling the ball sideways. Now, he ran the ball. It's interesting. The To'o try, which was a beauty. I mean, the hands of Latrell Mitchell.
Yeah.
Such a big man, such velvet hands. It was an amazing pass, but Nathan set this up. He set this up by the previous two occasions he got the football, Coop. He ran the ball. and made small incisions in the line. Now, straight away he did that. Suddenly they're on notice. Righto? And the best ball players are the ones that threaten with their run game. That's what attracts the defenders, attracts the bees to the honey pot. And so ran the ball. Next time, ran the ball. Third time he gets the ball, the time he sets up the try, Coop, he feigns to run. And suddenly Queensland just squeeze in, out the back to Moses. Mitchell, a beautiful pass to Latrell Mitchell, and just bush, straight to toe. That was...
And the Queenslanders' defence actually didn't do that much wrong in that. When you watch the replay, Cherry makes a decision to jam, probably a good decision in the moment because they all got held up by what Nathan did.
Yep.
But you see at this level where you've got Nathan Cleary, Mitchell Moses, and Latrell Mitchell, three of the most deadly attacking players. If you're a half a second off, at Clubland, you probably get away with it. They probably land on him or force an error.
Yep.
But you see the skill of those three players, like Latrell's pass to ice that. It literally barely touched his hands with the tap on.
It was incredible. And, you can get a short pass and sort of knock it through the hands quickly. But to get a long pass and be able to go bang, bang when a guy's going to whack you outside in, it's just incredible football. In this period, that 10-minute period from 20 to 30 minutes, the best two players on the field were Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo. Isaiah Yeo has been, his contribution to the win has been, I think, or will be understated.
Yeah.
Isaiah was so good because he's such a clever footballer. He had a look around that team and he goes, okay, I've got two dominant halves here. I've got Nathan Cleary and I've got Mitchell Moses. They don't need me to be a ball player. So all the way through the game, particularly in that period, he's taking it to the line, he's feigning to pass and then just punching through. Most of the mate, you would go back and watch Isaiah's performance. Most of the time he carried the ball to the line, he punched through.
Yeah, and that's it. You said that during the preview in the week that you would have actually started him on the bench so that Nathan could get into his running game early, didn't fall into the trap of playing out the back of Isaiah Yeo that they've sometimes done in the past.
Yep.
But Isaiah Yeo was outstanding. He set up shape around himself with the intent to run, just to create a one-on-one, and that's what shapes are built for. Shapes aren't built for in a game to play out the back and just go through and try to score in the corner every time. Sometimes you can set a shape up, and if you're a smart footballer, you can just set it up so that you create a one-on-one, a quick play the ball for yourself, which Yowie did tonight.
Well, that's the thing. When you talk to ball players about that, you say to them sometimes, even if you're a pure runner and your ball playing is secondary, set up a shape. Because I said before that when Nathan acted like he was going to run, they squeezed in. When you set up a shape, they flex. And it gives you an opportunity in ball runners to punch through, use your footwork, show and go, etc., so on and so forth. Okay, Coop. This is really interesting, this thing, right? Over the 10 minutes before halftime where games are won, Queensland kick off, right? And all the way in the build-up to the game, it was all about, mate, okay, Spencer Lanu's going to get his. And the crowd's up for it. Spencer comes on. Spencer is standing in kick reception off the kickoff. Bugger me, they kick the other way. They deliberately kick the other way, righto? And I kind of get it in the fact that you don't want him to get on motion and really charge off the back fence, but I reckon that's a victory for Spencer.
Yeah. I think it would have been a powerful thing for him to come on, and the last person you want to kick to, they just kick it to him and they get stuck into him. I think them not doing that was a real lift to the pack, particularly Spencer. But I think it was, like I said earlier, I think that was a testament to the work that Payne Haas and Lomax did early by, really troubling Harry Grant in the middle to make their one-on-ones. I think they were a little bit like, we want to try to win. Like I think they just looked at it a bit rattled through their middle. They wanted to win the tackle count because they know when you're out there and you're not making good contact as a player, and a lot of the times what you're thinking is shit, I've lost the last 4 of my tackles. I need to start winning it because in video I'm gonna get pulled apart. I have no doubt that Billy in the next camp will have them all in, show them a lot of, because they just lost so much of their one-on-one tackles tonight.
Yeah, they did, Coops.
There was a lot of time, players finding their front, which you don't see, particularly in the first 20 minutes of Origin.
No, you don't. It was really surprising, Coop. And, of course, the try before half-time.
Yeah.
A couple of big moments before half-time. And, again, New South Wales try in the right-hand corner. Lomax again. Yeah, it was. It was Lomax.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Lomax again. This time, again, Nathan benefiting from his run threat. Goes to the line, nice and straight, double pumps, and
Hammer.
with the danger of Nathan running and the danger of the double pump, Hamaso just couldn't help himself. He just turns in.
Yeah. And I believe it was the play before that. Isaiah Yeo, again, took a quick play of the ball, got a real quick one. And then when you actually look at that try, they had enough numbers to defend it easy. I think whoever was the back rower kind of got to Nathan, created, so they had equal numbers.
Yep.
Like you said, just the threat of having a quick play of the ball, the good intent on shape, Nathan's run threat, nice double pump. It just had them nervous. Like I think they were just under the pump out there, and then it was easy through the hands from Edwards to Lomax.
I'm looking at that period there just on half time, and I'm thinking, Queensland can't get back into this. We are so dominant.
Yeah.
But then there's always something that happens. And the final play before half time, Daly puts, and it's again the benefit of an attacking kick over, excuse me, and Xavier goes up, and of course, and Brian grabs him, gets 10 minutes in the sin bin, and all of a sudden, it's game on again.
Yeah, a bit controversial, obviously, getting sin bin. Look, not a lot in it. But at the end of the day, professional foul. He hits him when he's in the air. Good, fair play to Queensland. They got they ended up getting the 2 points. I tell you right now, a lot of shit's been put on the goal kickers, particularly Nathan and Lomax towards the end of the game. It was all missed a couple of sitters, but geez, if you go into that game at the end of there, and it would have been 20 to 2 if they kicked all their goals, which is game over in Origin. If you go in mentally and you're going 20 to 2 down, 14-2, and we only need 2 tries in. It's so mental where you're not having to chase that scoreboard.
Shows you the dominance of New South Wales. I mean, could have been 20. Very well could have been 20 to 2 at halftime.
Yeah,
at Suncorp Stadium.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the last time you see that at halftime in a state of origin. Like that's so dominant.
Geez, I tell you what. After halftime, this is the 10 minutes after halftime is a horror period for New South Wales because we've got 12 men immediately after halftime. When you got 12 men, you need to be squeaky clean. You got to complete your set. You got to complete your sets. You drive the ball into touch. You walk down. You don't let the opposition get into a rhythm, and you slow the tempo of the game. But we start the second half with a 7 tackle set from Mitch, and this will lead eventually to the Queensland try, first Queensland try.
Well,
in New South Wales, they just keep coming up with error after error after error.
Like you said, the way they played that first 20 minutes was perfect. New South Wales in the first half. It is such a good sort of case study for other teams to go, this is how we want to play our footy.
Yep.
That first 20 minutes when they were down to 12 was possibly the complete polar opposite. Like you said, 7 tackles. They defend a couple sets. They do a good job with 12. First tackle, Lomax drops it.
Yes.
And then they go to a scrum where they end up picking up Valentine Holmes and dragging him over the sideline. You think, geez, they're not going to score here. Next tackle, first tackle, Jeremiah Nanai flies out of the line and puts a shot on Latrell, who drops it, which they go offload, and Xavier Coates scores in the right-hand corner. Everything that could have gone wrong for New South Wales in that period did.
At that point, I'm thinking to myself, man, we've let them back into the game, but they've got, the crowd have come back into the game. They've got momentum. I'm thinking to myself, well, here we go. They've allowed them to get back in. And as you know, Q, when you're leading 14-2 and you've got complete dominance, excuse me.
That's all right.
And you've got complete dominance, what happens is all of a sudden the opposition score and they're back into the game. My God, that's a momentum swing. And it's so hard to arrest that momentum, to get that momentum back.
To wrestle it back, particularly when you've got 12 for another, I think they still had another 5 minutes with 12, and you're under the pump, and you've got the spine of Munster, Cherry Evans, Grant and Ponga who are starting to catch fire. But Queensland really didn't grab that chance. After that, they didn't really do a lot with the 12.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coop.
Particularly first half, when you saw some of the expansive footy out of their own, they were shifting it, and then they went to 12. It was like they didn't want to make errors, so they kind of just tried to play more through the middle, when that was probably when they should have shifted a lot more.
I'll tell you what was interesting about the second half about Queensland's attack, Coops, was that in the first half they were having so much success going to their right against Latrell and Brian. And as you said, they were disconnected. They just couldn't get their decision-making right. Second half, they barely go there at all. It's in the second half, they always just attack to their left. And I've got no doubt, and we said this before the game, leading up to the game, Billy loves to attack Zach Lomax. In Billy's mind, he sees that Zach Lomax puts so much effort and energy into his attack and his yardage that can leave him vulnerable in defence. And sometimes he does clock off. Sometimes he disconnects himself from his centre. But the big benefit for Lomax Coops was that he was alongside Stephen Crichton.
Yeah.
There were a few times in that second half that Queensland had an opportunity. If it had been a lesser defensive centre, they probably would have scored. But Crichton's his defensive decisions, and I've got no doubt he would have been just yapping to Lomax, keeping Lomax honest in defence. And so Queensland kept getting there, but they were getting no result.
Yeah, and you look on that side of Crichton and Lomax. I had a theory watching. I've had this theory for a while, but Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow at left centre, right? If you have they created a couple opportunities there where Hammer just got on the outside of Critter and they looked under pressure.
Yeah.
Having a centre inside you who's an out-and-out speedster, and Valentine Holmes was his winger, there was a couple of times there where they probably could have caught us out, but Hammer's speed was actually too quick for Valentine Holmes, and he kind of dropped back a little bit.
Yeah.
Was forced to drop off back underneath,
which
allowed New South Wales to go man on and Zach Lomax to come in and just tackle him.
And it was the inside pressure he was getting also from Crichton.
Yeah.
Crichton getting up and pushing him from the inside. He just couldn't get the angle to straighten into that gap that Billy was after in between Crichton and Lomax.
Yeah.
With Lomax being slightly disconnected.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Coop, in this period, in the second half, there was a lot of attack from New South Wales that I thought was really poor. I thought they went into there. I thought they were just too conservative in the second half, and evidence of that. Suddenly, New South Wales were getting a lot of joy from just playing nice and straight, with those short ball or sweep options.
Yeah,
peeling Queensland short. In the second half, for a decent period in the second half, lots of inside balls. Drifting across, picking them up on the inside. And I can understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to fatigue Queensland and they were trying to consolidate possession. But I just found it really ineffective. And I just thought in the first half their attacking shapes were a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of that Penrith, bit of Penrith ball. What they do, Penrith like to, drop people off, come back through the inside and really wear a middle out. I think under fatigue, they sort of fell back into that pattern in the second half, probably went away from their game plan a little bit, which I think, it obviously ended up working for them. But I think if that mould that they had in the first half with their attack, where they weren't really doing a lot of that drop-off stuff. They were just charging down the middle with their rucks, and then when they got a quick play the ball, get on the ad line and try to find an edge.
Well, Cooper, even like that, even if they wanted to play a lot more simple, it's go forward, drive them back, play the ball quick, get the ball to a Nathan or Isaiah or a Mitchell Moses and just challenge them with your speed and footwork. Just go at them. That was, I thought that would have been more effective than drifting and dropping underneath because in effect it really congested the middle of the field for New South Wales attack. 20 minutes to go, Coop, there's a really pivotal moment. Queensland are on attack and they've got a chance to make it a really big finish. 14-6, but they get the ball. It's a really, really poor set. They go sort of here and there. They don't do anything. And then Munster puts in a kick along the ground, a grubber. Yep. Zach Lomax diffuses it and then draws a penalty. Queensland never looked likely again.
Yeah, I think that was their. They did look very lost when they got down attacking the try line, which was weird. They're usually very structured. They did look a bit disjointed. I reckon a lot of that come from fatigue from the first half. When you're fatigued, you do a lot of work in the first half. Your communication kind of goes out the window. But yeah, that, like you said, Lomax reading that kick and saving that try because the hammer was coming through at a lot of pace.
I thought Coops. I thought Munster. He needed to run the ball a lot more than he did. I can understand his forwards didn't quite get dominance, but that's never stopped him before. And he's so unorthodox. I thought he just couldn't find his game tonight. And if Munster's running the football, and then he's punching through, and all of a sudden you got Kalen getting on the back of that, Daly doing his things. You know, Harry jumping out of dummy half, all those things. You know, Munster's the one that actually could have kick-started their yardage. If that's, well, in attack anyway.
Yeah.
He's the one that could have got the quick play of the ball and made things happen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's easy for us to say that because we've seen him do it so many times before at Origin level. You know, that 2020 series when he basically put the team on his back and just did some spectacular, had some great moments. But yeah, I think tonight he's, you know, obviously his pack got dominated and New South Wales would just had him under the pump for half an hour straight. So we probably didn't see the Munster that we are used to seeing at that level. I think there was a couple of nice moments from him, but you know, he never really looked likely to make it a few line breaks and stuff like that.
And New South Wales scored that final try, which ices the game. Guess what? To come off
kick.
Nathan
Attacking
Cleary,
kick.
attacking kick. Lomax takes the ball, eventually loses to Connor Watson try. Well done to
Connor Watson didn't score it actually. Connor Watson had probably the offload of the year. He was nearly held down and he just popped it up like a little rugby union pop. And Dylan Edwards scored. Madge Maguire.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Madge Maguire lookalike.
Yeah, he did too. Cooper, New South Wales best. What do you think, man?
Oh, I mean, the best for me, it was a flip a coin just from what they did the first half an hour, Haas and Lomax. I ended up going Lomax just because Haas went off. I think if Haas stayed out there, which he probably could have, he edges it. But Zach Lomax, what he did out of yardage, and then he just chased every one of Nathan's kicks. I mean, a kick's only as good as its chase. And Lomax was outstanding on kick chase.
Payne Haas got man of the match on the coverage. Can't disagree with that.
Yeah,
he was mighty. I thought Mitch Barnett was great.
Yeah,
I thought Mitch Barnett, mate. Like, you know, sometimes we pick New South Wales in the past have picked teams on what they can do more with the football than character and toughness. If that made sense. And I think. Like, that's what he's got tons of, mate. He was really physical, really got into him. A lot of the stuff you just don't see. Yeah. Mate, I tell you, he was bloody good too. Liam Martin was mighty. Yeah. That's his best performance in 2025.
Well, you look, I'm going through the team in my head, and there wasn't a bloke out there who was under a 6 or a 7, you know, as a rating. When you got a team that's everyone's sort of playing at a 7 or above consistently, like, how did we? You know, we were bound to win the football, mate. Yeah. Max King, who come off the bench as well.
Max, really good.
Kingy played big minutes, and he did an outstanding job. I think there was a 1-17 effort. Everyone did a real good job. Who was your best?
The Zach Lomax, Nathan Cleary combination was very, very dangerous all night. Yeah. Those attacking kicks, Zach Lee always come up with them. Just quickly before we give our 3-2-1, Queensland's best. I thought it was Nanai.
Yeah, I had Nanai as well. Just based on the big moments he had, which changed the game, which gave him an opportunity to change the game. Like Latrell Mitchell hit, and then he come up with about 3 big plays on kick chase where they got repeat sets off it. But I thought Cherry Evans was really strong too.
Yeah, he was. I thought Tino was good.
Tino was good.
When isn't he good?
Oh, mate, the big fella. They missed him last year.
Yeah. Okay, Coop. You 1, 2, and 3 points
for the whole game.
Yeah.
So one point for me actually went to Nanai, based on he got him back into that game. Yep. 2 points for me was Payne Haas, and 3 points, I just said it before, Zach Lomax. Yeah, right. Just effort all over the ground.
I've got 1 point, Isaiah Yeo, slightly ahead of Mitch Barnett and Liam Martin. 2 points, Zach Lomax. Payne Haas for me gets the 3 points.
Yep.
Looking forward, Coop, I tell you, man, big win. As I said before, next game 2 is in Perth.
Yeah.
That'll really suit New South Wales. It's a fast track. It's a dry track. You know, it's a track where when you look at games that have been played there, they've been high-scoring games. New South Wales were really able to push the ball around and give Latrell and Stephen Crichton even more opportunity.
Do you see changes? First of all, with New South Wales, do you see any changes? Like there was a couple injuries to people who were on the bench who ended up coming in.
Yeah. I don't see any forced changes.
I can't see them.
Only an injury.
Yeah, I can't see anyone getting taken out. Queensland's the big talking point. They were talking a lot of. Cameron Smith had a lot to say about. Do they potentially look to Dearden into the starting line to mix it up? Their spine, their spine weren't on tonight together. They all had their nice little moments, but they were disconnected.
Harry split his head. Did he get injured because he went off? I don't think he went back on.
He went off and did and went into 9.
9.
Then he come back on with the last 15.
Okay.
So he was all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they could have used Dearden better, Billy. I would have used Dearden as a running 13.
Yeah. Well, I think they
I would
just
have
had to
wound him up and let him go.
I think they had to give Harry a spell just from the amount of work that, because we were saying it during the game, they really found him a lot of one-on-one. Like they were really trying to work him over. Obviously, he's so effective in attack, and by making him do so much work in defence, you take a lot of his running game out of it. So I think they had to give him a spell there. Does Dearden they were talking about Dearden potentially coming into the halves. Is that a chance, do you reckon?
Who does he replace? I mean, you're DCE and Munster. You know, I don't see those blokes being replaced. I mean, if Dearden was to replace Linktree Evans, you would imagine almost draw the curtain on his Origin career. I don't think they'll do that.
I don't think so.
They'll let Daly play the series. As I said, I'd keep Dearden on the bench, but I would put him on in the 13 role.
Yeah.
Put him on after about 25 minutes, get him going. Coops, you got to break your radio in the morning. I think it's time to get a bit of sleep, huh?
It's no sleep for me, bro. After State of Origin night, I don't sleep. I just sit there in my bed, like Count Dracula in my little coffin, and I just sit there just thinking about stuff, and I just text Loz.
Yeah.
I text Loz and Slatsy. I text Loz and Slatsy just some good feedback and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
No sleep till Brooklyn.
no sleep.
I text Loz a couple of nights ago, said, "Oh mate, good luck," and he said, "Yeah, you know." And I said, I forget what he said, but I sent one back saying, "And if you win, I'll give you a nice little cuddle and a kiss on the cheek." And he never replied.
What a weird message to send.
I know. I was in a bit of I'd had a couple of beers.
I love when it flashed up the coach's box a couple of times, and like Loz was kind of sitting there, kind of pretty calm, and the most aggravated person in the box was Bellyache, who was just he's there as an advisor, yet he was almost just riding the wave worse than anyone.
Well, he's a winner.
Oh, mate, he loves it.
Righto, Coops. Good on you, man.